My mother asked me once.
Sweetheart, do you believe in God?
My reply was an indifferent nod that I myself did not agree with. Church on Sunday was a dull occasion that had no reason. After my father had passed, she must have thought her faith was the best place to go. As a small child, my lifeline only existed for Saturday. Saturday was when my mother would take me to the carnival. However, one memory sticks with me, one that I will never forget anytime soon when I am thinking to myself. I would normally leave my mother in a trail of dust, excited to get my first ticket. She would just smile and trot along. We went to my favorite ride, a Ferris wheel. This one was different from all the rest. It was a faded red and yellow with black streaks. The circling antique caught everybody's eye. My mother and I slowly came about the peak of the wheel, overlooking the vast landscape, when she pointed out a tent that neither of us have ever seen before. It was void of color and it had a soft glow coming from under it.
We should go and see what it is,
My mother smiled. I almost ran out of the Ferris wheel, but instead awaited for my mother. As we made our way to it, there was no attendant that invited us inside. Nobody to ask for our ticket. Yet the tent was slightly open.
Do you think we should go in?
I asked.
I suppose so.
My mother shrugged her shoulders. She peeled back the flap of the tent to reveal a maze of mirrors, surrounded by a black fog. I ran through a canal of these reflective surfaces, only to hear the mumbled sound of my name being called. I traversed deeper into the maze, the world around me getting darker when I came to a fork in the tent. I paused for a moment, listening to the slight ringing of silence, until I heard a sound of a claw scraping glass. I looked to my right and then to my left. The largest mirror that was there had writing upon it. Scribbled upon it was, "I want your face." I heard a loud scream. I knew it was my mother. I ran as fast as I could, but I couldn't help but feel that something was watching me.
Do you think it's your fault?
My doctor asked. Do I think it's my fault that my mother died but had no blood left after having her skin completely peeled off? I believe not.
I think our time is up.
He pointed at the clock on the wall. I was led out by some guards and thrown into my cell. Everyone had been convinced that I was criminally insane. The trial was quite unfair, for a little girl whom could barely read at the time was put in front of a jury. Then later, was shoved full of pills and put in a cell with white walls. On my 16th birthday, I was plastered in my little corner of the cell. It was storming and extremely dark. My whole cell was painted with shadows, except for where I was sitting. I was staring into this one particular shadow. It seemed almost like it was staring back at me, and it was whispering at me. When I drifted on into sleep and awoke the next morning to a drip of something on my face, my eyes clicked open to see what was wrong. In blood, writing upon my white walls, was stained a crimson red. And those stains are still here today, no matter how hard the attendants tried to scrub the same sentence I've heard all these years. At the third chime of a clock, I can still hear the circus music outside my window, faintly playing. And I know what it's doing. Stalking all of us.